So a great coach helps a player identify where they're at and what they do well. But a great coach also shows the player where it's possible to improve and what he or she can do to get better. Today I want to put on my professor hat and outline for you the 7 levels of Bible interpretation so you can determine where you are at currently, but also give you insights for how to grow to the next level. Honestly, I was hoping to come up with 6 levels so that I could name them each a good Awana name. Who doesn't want to be a Cubby again? But I came up with 7, so here we are. Of course, this is not some kind of authoritative list. This is how I conceive of the different levels of ability from years of teaching interpretation classes and thinking about how I could encourage students to grow. This list of levels is made from the ground up with the idea that in starting out, you only have a Bible and no other resources. And it advances to show you how to grow from there, telling you what kinds of additional resources you might need to take the next step. Now, before we dive in, I want it to be clear that this list is not meant to discourage you. Truly, I know very few people that operate in levels of 5, 6, and 7 on a daily basis. Those levels take years to build towards. But this can give you a sense of the roadmap of what it looks like to improve and move towards those upper levels. Also, if you find yourself thinking that the first 2 levels are just too simple, believe me, they ramp up. Okay, here we go. Level 1, the face level. This is the first and lowest level, and probably the level that many, if not most, Christians get stuck at, honestly. At this level, you read the text to try to understand the meaning of the words as they hit you in the moment. This is what it means to me stage. Now, the downside of level 1 is that it's very subjective, and the meaning of the text can be dictated in large part by your feeling and mood at the particular moment in time you're reading it. But there are also some good things about this level as well. At this level, you just need a Bible, so there are no other barriers. This level can also be really helpful in learning the power of observation, of just noticing the details in the text. In addition, it can be a very helpful reflective stage where you can really learn to ponder the text, which is invaluable. So all said, this is a good place to start, but not a good place to stay. From here, we need to figure out a way to get to the actual meaning of the words we're reading, and we'll do this from different angles in the next few steps. The good news is that to advance to level 2, you still only need a Bible. Level 2, literary context. So level 2 asks, what does this mean in light of the surrounding context? This is crucial because the surrounding literary context has more influence on what a word or phrase or sentence means than anything else. Indeed, because an author can use the same words in different ways, it's only the context that gives us insight into what the author intends and provides the accurate meaning of the words in a passage. A message cannot be understood without context. I mean, think about it. We don't know what the phrase, well, that was a mistake, actually means without context. I mean, what was the mistake? We have no way of knowing. So context is king, and we gain a lot from paying attention to it. To do so, we need to ask questions like, where does the text fit in with the passage? What comes directly before it? What comes directly after it? What is the broader context in the section or chapter? What are the connecting words between the sections? How do these shed light on the flow of the passage? Again, all of this can still be done with only your Bible in hand. It just takes an awareness that you now have to ask the right questions and a commitment to really observe the text as it fits together and develops and unfolds. Level 3, the word meaning level. I know, it's not a very creative title, but this level digs in deeper to explore what the words in the text actually mean, not just what they mean to me, what they would have meant at the human level by the author in the context they were written. Level 3 goes hand in hand with level 2. In this level, we're asking what the author would have meant by using these words. Also, what would the audience have understood by these words? We're going to look at the key terms of the passage that seem to be of real significance and do things like a word study. We're going to ask if they have important biblical or cultural backgrounds that influence how they're being used. We're also going to pay attention to different types of literary methods the author might have employed, like metaphors or similes or symbolism. We're going to pay attention to what the genre of the text is because that gives us significant insight into how the words should be read. Now, up to this point, we've been able to advance our way up from level 1 with just a Bible because we've been only looking at the words of the text itself. And it may be possible for you to just keep using your Bible in level 3 if you happen to be using a study Bible. A good study Bible will contain study notes for any of the key information you need to know about the passage you're reading. But oftentimes, to get here at level 3, the interpreter is going to start needing to access some information from somewhere else. If you don't have a good study Bible, you can access the information you need in a good commentary or Bible dictionary or encyclopedia to determine the meaning of the words in the passage. There are some decent resources available for free on BibleGateway.com that are really worth looking at. But at this point, it may be the time when you start thinking it's worth it to invest in some of your own resources. Level 4, the broader context level. Okay, level 4 is where things start taking off. This level says, I'll see your immediate context, level 2, and I'll raise you some bigger context. That is, this level starts zooming out to consider the meaning of a passage in light of the broader message and what connections that has. So this could zoom out to consider the meaning of a passage in light of the chapter it's in, or the message of the book it's in, or even the whole corpus of the author. Where else has the author used these words that may shed light on its meaning here? Or what light does the meaning here in this passage shed on the meaning there in other passages? This level can zoom out to the whole of the New or Old Testament, or even the whole of the Bible, and look at how certain key words or concepts or theological themes are used. An interpreter at this level will consider what a text means in light of what has come before it in the storyline of the Bible, or how it fulfills or develops an earlier theme more fully. He or she will even explore what it contributes to our understanding of the Bible's overarching message as a whole. So level 4 really zooms out, and to really develop your skills at this level requires a lot of pondering, a lot of reflecting, and lots of reading. In this level, there will be trial and error and mistakes as you begin to try to make connections and put pieces together. So this is why having good resources to guide you is really helpful. There are really helpful books about big sections of the Bible, like the Pentateuch or just the prophets, or more broadly, there are books on the theology of the entire Old Testament or New Testament as a whole, or even the whole Bible. So level 4 looks to really step back and pay attention to how your passage fits and connects within the bigger storyline and message of the Bible, so that you start understanding that bigger storyline in greater and greater detail. Level 5, the actual world of the Bible. Okay, level 5 digs further into the question, what insights do we gain by knowing what was actually going on in the world of the biblical writers and readers and characters? That is, in level 3, we said that we needed to look into the background of key terms to get a sense for how the author was using specific language. But in level 5, we want to go all in. We want to become time-traveling tourists and jump into that world itself. We want to walk around in the world of the Bible and stay a while, long enough to get a feel for what was really going on politically and economically, philosophically, religiously, and even socially in places where the Bible events happened, like Egypt, Canaan, Assyria, Babylon, Greece, Rome, Asia Minor, and more. We want to get a sense, if we can, for what the people cared about, for how they survived and made their livings, what they feared, what they hoped for, and how these realities of everyday life influenced what the writer might intend to convey, or how the readers might interpret that message. I hope you can see the difference between this level and level 3. Again, level 3 digs into the background of important words as needed, but level 5 digs into the bigger world out of which those words find their connection. For level 5, you're going to need some resources, books that help you really explore the world of different eras of the Old Testament and the New Testament. And of course, it's not possible to tackle all of these different worlds at once. Like I said, this takes years to learn about and to get a grasp of, but it's worth it because the benefit of this level is immense. Once you begin understanding the world of the Bible on an imaginative level, your reading of the Bible comes alive. It goes from 2D to 3D or 1080 to 4K because you begin to feel the humanity of the characters, the hope of God's promises, and so much more in new ways. Level 6, outside literary influences. Level 6 is one more expansion on top of level 5, and at this point we're firmly in the scholarly realm. At level 6, the interpreter is becoming more and more aware not just of the world of the Bible, but even of the different writings and oral traditions that have been produced through the years that may have influenced the writers of the Bible, even if they don't show up explicitly in the text. Okay, so these are the writings that don't show up explicitly or by name in the text that you and I have, but that may have influenced or informed the writers, and perhaps even how the readers heard their messages. I made this a separate level because these writings have the ability to outlive the world they come from and continue to influence readers for years and years. So this level looks at the literary world swirling around the Bible. For example, we can look at different examples of the ancient Near East flood accounts that exist, or the different treaties that parallel the shape of the treaties we see in the Old Testament. This level pays attention to the many Jewish writings through the years that may have influenced, or at least may offer insights into the thought world of the New Testament writers, like 1st and 2nd Maccabees, 1st and 2nd Enoch, Jubilees, Psalms of Solomon, Wisdom of Solomon, the Dead Sea Scrolls. This also looks at the influences that Greco-Roman writers and philosophers may have had on different communities in the Greco-Roman world that New Testament writers were sending their letters to. Knowledge of resources like these can offer significant insight into the meaning of a particular passage and some of the biblical authors themselves. Level 7, Interpretive Traditions. Level 7 examines the insights of the interpretive communities through the ages. All Bible reading is interpretation, and it's never done in a vacuum. We just might not be aware of the community that has gone before us and that has already answered some of the questions we're just now asking. So this level looks at how different groups through the centuries and today have interpreted different parts and different passages in the Bible. For example, church history back to the pre-modern era, back to the Reformers, back to the Scholastics, back to the Church Fathers is filled with hundreds of prominent Bible interpreters. In addition, in the past couple hundred years, there have been a huge range of interpretive traditions formed, and in many cases, these interpreters fall into different camps and thus read different passages and books and writers quite distinctly from how others read them. Here's one example from Pauline studies, just taking the book of Romans. Within Pauline studies, we have those who read Paul in Romans from a Lutheran perspective. We have others who approach him in terms of the new perspective, others who read him through an apocalyptic lens or a Jewish lens, and many who fall in between in different ways. Each of these will take Paul to be making different key emphases from the letter he has written to Rome. They may disagree about how Paul relates to things like his own Jewish background, or to the law, or to the nature of salvation, or to what was available to Gentiles. So this level of interpreters has learned to master not only the text, accomplishing all of, or at least many of the insights of levels 1 through 6, but they're seeing the complexity of the interpretive decisions that need to be made to such a degree that they're aware of how and why different readers approach the text like they do. This level takes years of study and reading and reflection. Okay, great, but now what are you supposed to do with these different levels? Well, the point of this is not to say that you have to master all of these skills. You don't have to achieve some certain level of competency in order to be a good follower of Jesus. Not at all. Many, if not most of his followers in the first couple hundred years probably would have been illiterate. But to be a disciple is fundamentally to be a learner. So if you're looking to grow as an interpreter, but haven't known how, you at least now know some of where it's possible to go on the map. If you're looking for a guide on some of the resources that will help you grow, you can check out either this video for beginner resources or this video for advanced resources. If you click one of those, I'll see you in there.